Blake Lively lost, period. Blake Lively lost this case. She wanted more than $100 million, more than $150 million, and she ended up...
Blake Lively lost, period. She ended up getting nothing. Those words didn't come from a tabloid. They didn't come from a Justin Baldoni fan account. That came from legal experts watching this disaster unfold in real time. And here is the image I want you to hold in your mind for the next few minutes. Picture a courtroom on the eve of trial. 2 tables, 2 teams of lawyers, millions of dollars in legal fees stacked on both sides. And then picture one side standing up, walking over to the other and waving a white flag. No dramatic verdict, no jury gasp, no winning moment. Just silence. And then a walk of shame out the back door. That is what happened here. That is the visual anchor of this entire saga. Welcome back to Celebrity Newspedia.
Getting nothing. She settled for no money. There was no apology. It was, I acknowledge that we will take your issues seriously. There's no, but...
I'm your host, and we don't just cover the drama on this channel. We expose what the headlines are hiding. So if you are new here, do me a favor right now. Hit that subscribe button, because what I am about to lay out about Blake Lively's legal catastrophe, the mainstream media is spinning it as a win. And trust me, by the end of this video, you are going to see exactly why that spin is pure Hollywood smoke and mirrors. Let's start with the numbers, because numbers do not lie. Blake Lively wanted more than $100 million. Actually, let me correct that. She wanted more than $150 million. That was the ask. That was the demand.
They were waiting for the other person to blink.
Okay, then my other question is, and again, forgive me if this sounds dumb, but how do you, as Blake Lively, as her attorneys, and Harvey, you said this, you're asking for hundreds of millions of dollars, then it's $100 million, then you walk away with nothing, and you say...
That was the number her legal team was throwing around when this whole thing started. And what did she end up with after months of litigation, after millions in legal fees, after dragging Justin Baldoni through the mud? After depositions and document dumps and enough drama to fuel a Netflix series? Zero. Nothing. Nada. She settled for no money. Let me say that again so it lands. She settled for no money, no apology, no admission of wrongdoing from the other side. No exchange of funds whatsoever. There was a statement. Oh, there was definitely a statement. But here is what that statement actually said. I acknowledge that we will take your issue seriously. That is not an apology. That is corporate speak for please go away. There is no I'm sorry for what I did. There is no you were right. There is just a carefully crafted sentence that took 20 hours to negotiate and means absolutely nothing. Now, here is where you have to understand what...
I'm sorry for what I did. There is no exchange of money. And that's what civil lawsuits are about. Civil lawsuits are about money. And that's it.
Civil lawsuits are actually about. Civil lawsuits are about money, period. That is it. They are not about justice in some grand philosophical sense. They are about compensatory damages and punitive damages, and who writes the check at the end. You could argue that sometimes they are about acknowledgement, about someone saying, you did me dirty. But Justin Baldoni never said that. Not in the settlement. Not anywhere. So I am going to ask you the same question the legal experts are asking. What exactly did Blake Lively win? This is the moment where I want you to think about something bigger. Because this is not just a story about one actress and one director. This is a pattern. How many times have we seen someone in Hollywood take a legitimate grievance, blow it up into a nuclear...
Now you could say, well, they're also about abdication, or rather just, somebody kind of acknowledging that, you did me dirty. He never said he did her dirty in the settlement. So I don't know what she won. The only thing that is weird to me is...
war, and then walk away with nothing while claiming victory. How many careers have been destroyed not by the actual outcome, but by the process itself? This is an industry-wide problem. And Blake Lively is just the latest example of someone who got terrible advice, doubled down on it, and ended up with empty hands. The phrase that keeps echoing in my head is this one. She ended up getting nothing. She ended up getting nothing after asking for everything. She ended up getting nothing while her lawyers got paid.
So I'm not sure how this law even works, where she would get attorney's fees for a lawsuit that was thrown out. So bottom line is, right now, she got zero. So
say it 3 times and you start to understand the tragedy of it. She ended up getting nothing. But wait, you say, there is still that weird California law about attorney's fees, right? The one that says if someone files a sexual harassment lawsuit and the other side files a defamation lawsuit that gets thrown to the original filer gets attorney's fees. Well, here is the problem. Justin Baldoni's defamation lawsuit got thrown out, yes, but Blake Lively's sexual harassment lawsuit also got
triggers this law was dismissed. And if you're Blake Lively's team or lawyer, I'm saying to myself, well, I guess I could go declare victory, but this has been pending since September 25. The reason I think it's been pending
thrown out. So how exactly does that law apply when the original case that triggered it no longer exists? Legal experts are calling this a case of first impression, meaning no court has really decided this yet. And here is the kicker. The judge has already been pretty harsh on Blake Lively's legal team. If you read the order where 10 of the 13 counts got thrown out, the judge spared no words criticizing her law firms. It was almost as if he was saying, you want to go after somebody for damages? Go after your lawyers for screwing this up. Let that sink in. A federal judge essentially told one of the most powerful actresses in Hollywood that
Punitive damages, you lost your case. I mean, that's simple.
And the other, there's always, and this is what's so kind of frustrating, if you will, there are insurance companies.
her own lawyers might be the ones she should be suing. That is not a win. That is a funeral with flowers. And here is what nobody is talking about. The real cost of this lawsuit was never just about the money. It was about everything else. Think about what Blake Lively put at risk. Depositions where she would have been grilled like a cheeseburger in cross-examination, as one expert put it. Interrogatories where she would have had to hand over private documents. Taylor Swift getting dragged into the mess, Ryan Reynolds getting deposed, her marriage becoming Exhibit A. Her friendship with Taylor Swift, which she has carefully cultivated for years, suddenly under a microscope. And if that relationship blows up, she becomes an enemy to a lot of people because of Taylor Swift's popularity. That is not a hypothetical. That is a very real
Just go after your lawyers for screwing this up.
Yeah, I mean, that well could be what he was telegraphing. But I gotta say, when you look at this from start to finish,
domino effect that her legal team should have seen coming from a mile away. So why did she do it? Why take this all the way to the eve of trial only to wave the white flag? The answer is actually pretty simple. She blinked. Both sides were waiting for the other person to blink. Just because you say it does not make it so, you can declare victory all you want. But the math does not care about your press release. And can we talk about the timing for a second? Because this lawsuit never made sense from the beginning. Remember how this all started? It was one thing after another. Blake Lively did not take the central theme of domestic violence seriously in certain interviews. Then she got harassed online for that. Then a video circulated of her being rude to a Swedish reporter, saying, "I like your little bump," in that tone. It was not a good look. And honestly, if she had just waited, the media cycle would have moved on in 2 months. It always does. But someone in her camp advised
Cynic in me says Lively had, I think, upwards of 5 law firms.
her to do this, to file the lawsuit, to escalate, to make it nuclear. And I desperately want to know who that person is. Because whoever gave that advice cost her millions of dollars, was her reputation, and any shot at an actual legal victory. Now, look, I'm not saying Blake Lively did not have legitimate grievances. Maybe she did, maybe Justin Baldoni was difficult, maybe the set was toxic. I was not there. But here is the thing about lawsuits. They are not always the right way to air your grievances. Sometimes you take the high road. Sometimes you let the media cycle die. Sometimes you protect your friend.
Going to be up to the Southern District Judge, Judge Lyman, ironically, the son of one of the kind of legendary First Amendment lawyers that ever lived, Arthur.
Shifts with Taylor Swift and your marriage to Ryan Reynolds and your own sanity. But Blake Lively did not do that. She went all in, and she lost. So here is my question for you, and I genuinely want to know what you think in the comments. Do you think Blake Lively's legal team gave her terrible advice from the beginning? Or was she the one driving this bus straight off a cliff? Because someone in her camp told her to do this. Someone convinced her that suing Justin Baldoni was a good idea. And I want to know who you think that person is. Ryan Reynolds? Taylor Swift? A lawyer chasing billable hours? Drop your theory in the comments. I read every single one. Before I go, if you made it this far, you are exactly the kind of viewer who belongs on this channel. So do me a favor. Like this video so YouTube knows you want more of these deep dives. Share it with someone who still thinks Blake Lively won. And most importantly, subscribe to Celebrity Newspedia and turn on that notification bell, because we are not here to read you the headlines. We are here to read between the lines, to follow the paper trail, and to tell you what the publicists are praying you never find out. The next chapter of this story is coming. The judge still has to rule on those attorneys' fees. And trust me, when that decision drops, you are going to want to be here. I will see you in the next one.